Welcome, everyone, to Elevate with V. So, this podcast was inspired by my own healing journey. I aspire to share amazing, inspiring souls to help us each elevate on our journey so we can keep aligning with our soul's calling and gifts. I can't wait to introduce my guest today, Ernestine. We were connected online, but had the pleasure of meeting in person at Sology Fest. And it was such a delight to spend time together with so many beautiful souls. And I am so eager to learn more about your journey and what has led you to be known as a soulful guitarist. So, Ernestine's official bio is she is a soulful guitarist. She channels energy from her heart and soul through her guitar without using words. Guitar and her have been together for 27 plus years, sharing life's joys and sorrows and everything in between. When Ernestine plays, their energies merge and something new, powerful, and beautiful emerges. Welcome, Ernestine.
Oh, thank you, Vanetta. It's been a while since we've seen each other, and I gotta tell your audience, she is just as genuine as you hear her every week. She is just genuine in person, and she loves to dance.
Why, yes, I do. Oh my goodness. Thank you for saying that. Such beautiful memories of all of us dancing. And I remember it was unusually cold and windy, but we all didn't let that stop us. And we had fun and just enjoyed cozying up with each other and just enjoying the flow of whatever those days were there to bring for us. And it was beautiful and joyful. And even though you and I didn't necessarily get a lot of one-on-one time, it was just about being in that energy together. I feel like that bonded all of us that came. So I'm really excited to actually get this one-on-one time with you and have an opportunity to really learn more about your journey because, what people see now is this incredible, beautiful, soulful guitarist, but there's a lot behind that, right? And that's what I like to do. I like to showcase what are people's journeys because, like all of us, it's not all about just rainbows and gummies, right? There's just all this other stuff that's happened that has led us onto this path. So that's what I would love to chat about today. So I would love to know from you what were your kind of like event or events that kind of gently led you into your healing journey? Hopefully it was gentle. It's not always gentle for everyone. So do share.
Okay, in 1996, they discovered I had a tumor on my left ovaries, and it was bigger than a football. They didn't know it until they took it out, how big it was. And when they took it out, I used to say that I lost myself, but I now am aware of what was happening. I was opening up, waking up to myself, and it was overwhelming. But I reached out for counseling. I had the most amazing counselor, and I trust in what I've realized over the years is that spirit always has our best interest at heart. But yet if your thinking interferes, that's when we get into trouble. You need to trust your heart. And so her name is Farida. And as I went in my sessions with Farida, she created this incredible safe container space for me to start to open up to my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own emotions. And what I would do is I would go home and I would channel that energy through my guitar. And that's how my music started. And here's something really cool because in 2001, just so everybody knows, I'm going to say something here, but we're recording prior to this because it's actually International Women's Day today. And so it's March 8th, 2024. And so in March of 2021, I performed, shared my music live for the first time. And it was at an International Women's Day event in Nanaimo, BC. And it was after that, because I started to realize how special, I already knew because where it came from within me, I knew it was special. But it doesn't matter what we feel inside. Well, it does matter. Don't take that wrong. But what I'm saying is this, as much as I know it's special, but have the experience of other people experiencing my energy, and having that feedback come back, that just instilled with me just how incredibly special it is. And so I went in the recording studio just to record, because I didn't want anybody to try to claim it was theirs, not realizing that nobody can do what I do, right? Because there's only one me. And what I get to do is very unique, coming from me, all of me. And so anyway, so I was recording, and so I was running out of money, and my mother died. Now, keep this, pay attention to the years in this. In 1991, my mom died. She passed away. So here we are 10 plus years later. Okay, her estate was settled years ago. I got a $3,000 check from her estate. And that's how my first album came about. And called it Me, Myself, and I. A psychologist heard my music, and she asked me, can I use your music during my healing sessions? I said, absolutely. Anything to do with healing, I'm in. And then I got guided by spirit to take one of the songs that's on my first album and put that on an album by itself. Because we all know when we're in a healing session, I don't care if it's meditation, a counselor, or what kind of healing sessions, 20 minutes doesn't cut it. So when I took one song called Soulful Connection, and I just started playing it and playing it and playing it. And it ended up being, I recorded for 55 minutes and 43 seconds long. Yeah. And so that was my second album. And then I put my music away for about 13 or so years. In 2015, I got back into it a little bit, and I've been dabbing more and more into it. And then in 2001, I think it was 2002, one of the two, I went back in the studio and recorded my third album, but it's actually my second meditation album. And it's called Instrumental Silence. The first one's called Instrumental Silence. The second one's called Soulful Connection. My apologies. And that one was recorded for 53 minutes and 34 seconds long. Yeah. And then, what I find for me, my music is very, can't even say the word.
Therapeutic?
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say. Can't even say it now. To me, because just when I play it, because I've always said this for many, many years, my guitar is my soulmate. And, I may try to fool myself. I may try to fool others, more so others. But the truth is, when I pick up the guitar, I can't fake it, because it's an extension of my soul. And it's like I can have a song that's been channeled, and I never know how it wants to be expressed until I start playing it. And to surrender and to just allow, right? Because here's the thing, we are so busy in our brains, because that's where all the dysfunction, I could say, is in the brain thinking, because the heart and the soul, it's nothing but love, kindness, etc., etc. But the brain gets in there and it mucks everything up, because it analyzes things, and it's not, it's you got to be careful. You have to be conscious of your brain and your thoughts that are coming in, because if you take a thought as a split second, and okay, that split second's fine. But if you take that thought and you focus on that thought more and more, that thought becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Then because you got to remember, this is all energy, right? So if you take that thought, that energy, then you speak it, that now goes out to the entire universe. So it doesn't matter what you think. Thinking is one thing, but if you speak it or you take action on that, you're putting it up to the universe. So we have to be very careful about it's it's not our thoughts about what we say, and it is about what we think as well. But it's we need to start taking responsibility, right? Because we have 100% control. You cannot rely, and no offense to anybody as I go to say this, is organized religion and etc. all say you have to act, say, and do, behave. I don't care what religion it is. Could be East Indian, it doesn't matter. It could be Christian, it could be Catholic, it doesn't matter. They all have this thing of you must act, say, and do, behave as I say. And you're not allowed to express from here and honor yourself. For me, is people say, well, the minister or the preacher or the Bible said this or that. They don't take any responsibility for themselves, for their choices. It doesn't matter what somebody else says or does or etc. Doesn't matter. Look at yourself, honor yourself, and go within and get in touch with this incredible part of yourself, this most amazing, loving self. You know, when I see people, that are hurting, and I'm to be very clear, when people project, that's what people do. They project their hurt, their pain onto others to bring to affect another so they feel better. Right? And what an awful way for somebody to want to live that way. Because they're not conscious about what their actions are. They're not doing any inner, let's call it inner work, which means to me, explore from within. Right? And that's where, people keep on projecting. And then, because my job, my responsibility now of my consciousness is that people will trigger me. You're damn right they will trigger me. Okay. And to sit there and say, I've healed everything. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine now. You're full of shit. Or you think you think but the truth is you're gonna get a B slap, right? And to bring you back to reality. Right. But here's the thing is no matter what the experience is, if it affects us, right, is an opportunity for us to go, how did I handle that? Could have I done differently? Yes, I could have. That's the thing, to reflect back on the events, not to blame. Well, if they wouldn't have said this, I wouldn't have said this. And that's all blaming. It's such an ugliness. And for me is, if I get triggered, it usually takes me a little while to figure out, because that's just how I operate. Some people recognize it right away. Well, it takes me a little longer. But then once you're able to identify it, you go, oh shit. Okay. And that, because I have this phrase, I love this phrase. If I get to uncover something, I get to discover. When I get to discover, I get to discard.
Ooh, I
And
like
it's,
that.
isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. And that, because it's true, because it doesn't matter if you're being triggered or you're pissed off that day or whatever's going on. Once you're able to recognize what's going on, that's when you get to uncover something, which allows you to discover. And then when you get to discover that, it no longer has that control. Because now you have the control and the choice of doing whatever's next. But you need to remember, you need to take responsibility for whatever your choices are thereafter. But if you're operating from your heart, from within, and doing your best, that's all that matters. And there's no competition in this journey of ours. We are all at different levels, right? And, my journey has been, it's been amazing. And I'm just so grateful, because both V and I are part of an incredible community called Soulology, right? I've been connected with Soulology for 4 years now. And being a part of this amazing community, what I've learned and understand and discover within myself more about who I am, not what I think I am or based on society's idealisms, right? It's just me coming more home to me. And it's like, I post a lot of memes in a day, or usually do. It could be anywhere from 10 to 20 a day, just depends. And the memes speak to all of us in our journeys. And it's to remind you of who you really are, truly are. And, it's like we have to really look at the people we hang around with and how they make us feel. Why, I walked away from my biological family years ago because the amount of dysfunction and all that old programming of, you act, say, and do, behave, and all this. And, that when we hang around with people, you could call it, it's not saying I'm better. It's just I'm on a vibrational journey. And my vibration's usually pretty high. Not always, but it usually is. And I need the reminders as well to myself. Because we get so busy that trying to do whatever we're doing individually, we can get sidetracked. And it's for us to stop and breathe. And that's what my guitar does. It makes me stop and it makes me breathe. It brings me back to centered. I get centered and grounded with my guitar. It's it's my soulmate. Like, she brings me back. And it's just like I was saying a bit ago about, whatever song has been channeled. It doesn't matter how it was channeled, it's how it wants to be expressed now. And that's the thing. People get so caught up in, well, I felt this way last week, so I must feel that way today. No, you don't. We're constantly changing, we're constantly evolving. So our emotions and our feelings shift and change multiple times throughout the day. And, for me, with my music, it's learning to surrender and just allow whatever to come through the way it comes through. Because I'm not in control and I don't want to be in control. I'm a vehicle, I'm a messenger. I feel very honored. I feel very blessed by this gift and ability to do what I do because it comes from my soul. Every song I'm in awe of my abilities. I'm in fucking awe. Sorry.
It's okay.
And, but, and what's happened is, because I just had the guitar, I've never played with myself. And Susanna Mara, she reached out to me and she said, I need a song I'm going to be starting a podcast called Raw Ascension. And would you channel a song for it? I said, oh, yeah, right. So through that experience was incredible. But what happened was I now had to use recording device, right? So I'm hearing myself back and I'm going, and I started picking. I'm not a guitar picker, right? And I'm like, that felt pretty good, right? So in June of 2021, I ordered, well, actually it came in then, I ordered back in February. I ordered what's called a looper. And a looper is a recording device that allows you to lay down a track and you can add layers to that track. Mine is actually 5 tracks, right? So I have 5 tracks, which I can add layers to each one of those tracks, right?
Wow.
So that's where everything becomes blended. And when I look back and I really appreciate the people who really got what I was doing, right? Because not everybody gets what I do. But more importantly is that how it made me feel, because what it did when I was listening back and working with the loop and stuff, what happened is that my feet started to go, then my legs started to go, then my whole body started to go, and I'm just, because I never moved before, right? My foot was always tapping when I'm playing, or if I'm not, it just depends because it does its own thing, and but it woke me up because it activated me. And I allowed this incredible activation to feel what I feel and just allow, right? And so these past 2.5 years using a looper has elevated my expansion. And it's incredible because, like, when I say this, Spirit gave me the name Soulful Guitarist late 2017. And it just spoke to who I am and what I do. And last year, in June of 2023, there was this shift in me where I've embodied now everything that I am. So it's, when I say this, to be very clear, embodied is there's no separation. I am the soulful guitarist. And I get to come here, which I am today, and share my heart, my soul, my vibration, and this looper has opened me up to endless possibilities that are just, it's like you talk about surrendering, right? It's continuous surrender. And it's like when a new song is being channeled, because, I usually do a live a day. Usually things are shifting right now, so I'm not as on as often. But here's the thing is that when, I'll be very honest, I lost whatever it was. It's gone. It happens to the best of us.
It sure does. You were just so in the flow and you just went off into another dimension. We're like, Ernestine, come back, come back.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Is about surrendering. Is because that's what my music has taught me. It doesn't matter what I think or feel. It's about surrendering and allowing. Can I share with you guys some of the energy?
Oh my
Right?
goodness. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
because it happens fast for me now, really, really fast. And like most people can't even tell when a new song's being channeled. It's pretty freaking wild. Okay, here we go.
my goodness. Wow. That was so amazing. What a gift for all of us, Ernestine, to get this live rendition. I was like, oh my goodness. I could feel, and I always feel this with your music, is I always feel the urge to just close my eyes and then just allow that energy to flow. And I can literally feel like all this energy moving in my body, like my cells are receiving all this beautiful vibration, right? And it literally like raises your vibration
Yeah.
like
And that's what it
instantly.
is. And well, and you know, like it's when I say this, sorry, for those who can see this, I have a Zoom recorder. Whenever I play, I always record, and I just need to jot down the number here. Um, Here's the one thing, like when I do lives, I have people that have reflected back to me because it's not about me, right? And they reflect back to me just that. You know, before they were listening to me, you know, whatever was going on in their life, you know, chaos, turmoil, whatever the heck it is, but they feel unbalanced. And they listen to me, and all of a sudden they come back into their body, into their heart, and it's you know, this new stuff is not available yet. Keyword yet. Um, just so everybody knows, my music is available through my website, which is soulfulguitarist.com. And, but my first two albums are now on Apple, Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. You can find it under Ernestine Day. The other album will be dropped soon. But what I've been getting nudges lately, because, you know, like I mentioned, like I have what's called a Zoom H5 recorder. And, you know, I've gotten personally, and like, you know, for the last 2.5 years, how I've honed this skill and this ability and just keep on playing it. And it's not that I aimed to be here, but I was being present in that moment and just allowing, figuring this thing out. And this is where people try to say, well, I want to be over there. Well, that isn't how it works. You got to be here first. And the more you stay within yourself and be true to yourself, things start unfolding naturally. And that's what's happened with me, you know, because I've never picked. And it was only, I think it was just this past November, October, November, this, you know, 2023, that I went, you know what? I'm not a bad guitar player. All right. Because I now get to listen to me back. Because and people say to me, do you go listen to yourself afterwards? I said, no. I may go listen to see about the quality of the sound, but I don't go back for the purpose of listening. But I'll be very honest too. What happens with me if I do that, it's just I want to keep on listening. Right. And so I'm sitting there going, hey, you know, that's pretty good. Oh, ooh, that was nice. Oh, you know, and you know, because I don't look at myself as being a good guitar player, because there's millions of good guitar players that are out there. It's not about being good at something. It's about coming from within you and to express that. That's where the beauty is. It's not about being perfect. And even people who channel, like a lot of people, including myself, I didn't know, I didn't use this language even 4 years ago, right? And it's like uh, uh, Susanna Mara's, she's planted a lot of seeds in me over the years. And she says to me, Ernie, you're an alchemist. Not me. No, no, no. And then in August of 2022, no, it's going to be 2022. Oh, it was August 2021. That I was talking with my longtime friend, Deb, and we were talking about alchemists. So Deb being Deb, she got out the dictionary and she read, and I went, oh, shit, I am. And that's when I started to acknowledge within myself, but saying it verbally, that I'm an alchemist. Because for me, being an alchemist takes, not takes, it takes responsibility to be that. It's not a joke. It's not something that, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. Like you know, we have our people in our own communities that are, they think they're the be all end all, come to me, I'll teach you how to do this, do that. You can't teach people this. It's something, when I say this, what was coming to me a bit ago was about, the word channeling. It's like people who paint, people who write, anybody on whatever it is that you do, and you're in that zone, you are channeling. Yeah, it's such a incredible space and place to be in within ourselves. And I would like for people to understand what they're doing, right? Because, and here's the thing is this, going back to about what kind of people we hang around with, right? For me, I don't want people, and I don't need people to go, way to go, Ernie, right? I don't need that. I don't want that. I want people to acknowledge based on true, authentic self. I can accept that. But, if you're going to patronize me, I can sense it now. I now understand what this has been. Because before, when people were patronizing me, I thought it was a compliment, but I didn't realize they were patronizing me to get whatever they want, right? But now I'm aware, and I can sense, because the stronger that I get within myself, understanding who I am, I can sense those, and I can spot them a mile away. But I'm also very open to maybe what I'm sensing here is not right. But I'm very aware. I'm consciously aware, and that's the difference, right? And nobody has anything to prove to anybody. And here's the thing: is this is when we share, we need to find safe people where we can be ourselves. We need to find safe people, wherever that is within your life and your surroundings. But here's the thing is this, we need to really take time to pay attention to how people are really, what they're saying to us. And pay attention and ask yourself, is that the kind of person you want to call a friend? Is that the kind of person that you want to trust your heart with? Who's going to put you down or make fun of you or minimize or dismiss and in fact patronize you? Oh, that's nice. Way to go. Good for you. And we need to really step back and go, okay. And if you look at all your friends, because we get some are closer, some are not, and really look at them. And here's the one thing that we are finally breaking away from is this, that the family is that's who you're loyal to first. I'm loyal to me first. I've always struggled with my family. They would say, we're family, we stick together, right? But it's conditional love. It's not unconditional, it's conditional. And I struggled my entire life. My younger brother once said to me, I'm from a very small island on the east coast of Canada. It's called Prince Edward Island. Now, some of you guys know if you know of Anna Green Gables, that's Lucy Maud Montgomery. She's from Cavendish, PEI. And then, I moved out to Calgary in February of 1980 for 6.5 years. Then I've been on the West Coast here ever since. And I had my younger brother say to me, you're running away from your problems. You need to deal with them and all this shit, right? And he didn't ask me questions, so he understood. No, nothing was telling. That's my typical family. Tell me, you tell me who I am. You tell me what to do. Yep, I'll bow down, right? And I remember so distinctly, because this was a difficult decision to leave. But I'll tell you, when I was driving out that driveway in February, I don't know the date. I think it was the 10th or something. Anyway, driving out the driveway. So I just said goodbye to my parents and my brother. I'm driving out the driveway. I felt this freedom. Like this weight was lifted off of me. And I went, wow. because I did not expect that feeling to have. So I knew. And so I went and picked up Chris and Summerside, and we got on the ferry and we drove. And we were actually driving in a snowstorm. And we stopped and got up the next day and carried on. And it took us 4 or 5 days to get to Calgary and in the dead of winter. And it was what I realized, not necessarily then, but all I knew I need to go away, right? Be way far, far away from everybody. But what I was doing is I was looking for the right place for me to do my inner healing journey. And I found that place, which I lived on a 5-acre ranch for 8.5 years. And there's nothing better than being in a space where you get to do your work and there's no judgment, no nothing. But I was running to a safe place to start doing my work. And that's the thing, I'm the only one who truly knows, I may not understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, but trust me, I know what I am doing because Spirit's always guiding me. And I did not know that. Right? I just didn't know it. But now on that consciousness and awareness, I'm always, being guided. And, my music, it's like, you know, um, it's always been guided. And that's what, the other day I went out and had dinner with about 16 other women, and some of us were getting this conversation, and not many people there know who I am, but they're getting to know who I am, right? Because there's nothing superficial about me. I'm very deep, right? I don't know how to be that, but anyway, this couple, they've been together for 40 years, and she said something, and so I was conversing back and forth about my music, and then I said, by the way, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. And they all burst out laughing, right? And I'm used to people laughing at this but I'm actually being quite serious. I have no idea. Every time I go to pick up the guitar, whatever's being channeled, I have no idea. Right? And it's like, you got to experience this with me. And anybody who's listened to me for any period of time, they'll start to recognize that, oh yeah, I've heard that song before, but I never heard it that way, because guess what? I've never played that way. And it's like saying that, okay, it's like I was mentioning a bit ago about, your emotions and feelings, because don't hold on to those. Surrender to those emotions and feelings, because if you try to hold on to them, you're trying to say, well, I feel this way, and you're trying to repeat that feeling next week or the week after. You can't do that, because we're like ebb and flow. We're like this all the time. And it's like with my music, I never know how one song wants to be played. I have some songs that want to be it depends how Spirit wants me to express that. And sometimes it's very deep and sensuous. I had an experience last October, and I had the recording, and I want to release that recording, to be quite honest, but it's on a Zoom H5 and not on software. But I have never played that song like that with such. I connected to myself on such a deep level, speaking about the song and how it came about, which was, her name is Charmini Gana, right? Yeah, you know her. She's a beautiful lady. And her song is called Diamond Heart. But I was talking about Charmini and I's journey, but it was not only did I speak about it, I was reliving it. Every word I spoke, I could feel myself being back in that space. And then I went to play her song, and I've never played it with such depthness. And I got hold of Charmini and said, you gotta listen to this. And she listened to it, and she was crying because I was crying. And those moments And the keyword, those moments do happen. But if I sit there and say, well, I'm going to make this happen again. No, no, you're restricting yourself because you're trying to force yourself to be something that you're not in that moment. But if you just step away from yourself and just trust, it's no matter if you're painting, if you're writing, if you're walking, it doesn't matter, right? Just allow. Don't try to think about anything. Don't try to analyze it. Embrace it. What I love with what I get to do and get to be, because what's been happening is there's songs that I've channeled, prior to having the looper in my life. And I started finding that I'm starting to play with some of that energy and adding now the looper. And because it's like you can feel, and that's a beautiful part. If you listen from the beginning of a song, you hear this, and then you can start hearing the layers. And then also how they blend together. And if you close your eyes and you're listening, it'll take you here, 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 because there's all these different parts, because nothing's the same. But yet there's a flavor essence to it that is just incredible. And this came to me. I want to thank you for saying something earlier, because like I care about the quality of my music, and that's why I've invested in quite a bit of equipment. And because when I've listened back to my Zoom 5, I'm impressed with the quality of the sound. So what I think I'm going to do, because you said something before we started that you just, record. I don't do any editing, because that sounds like me. I don't edit, right? Because it's like, no, let it be what's going to be, but just maybe what I need to do is take what I've got and just, this is going to be funny. Okay, here, this is what a Zoom H5 looks like. I have it on a thing, and I have it on an SD card. All right. These are all recorded music. Yeah, I'm on 29. Yeah. And I've only had that couple years, the H5. All right. So that's music I played for the last couple years. And because there's moments that happen when I'm live and I'm sharing, and like, this music is not mine to hold on to. In other words, when I say that, to be very clear, is I don't play the guitar by myself very much. I like getting online and just playing and see what comes. And I this music, like I said, it's not mine to hold on to, because I've switched companies for distributing, because there's various companies that are out there, and I just switched to Discro Kid, I think it's called, and I pay a fee per year. I can drop as many songs as I want in that year for a flat fee.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so I think what I need to do is get my butt in gear. And I already have an sound engineer who can take what I've already have, and he can do his magic and then start dropping these, like getting them out there. Because I know what I do know, and there's no doubt, and it's like waves like this again, is I know I'm here to help heal. I know I'm here to help heal the planet. I'm here to help the people on the planet, with what I get to do and get to be. And that's the thing. If you have something that you do, don't wait for that perfect moment. Just do it. Because there's never going to be a perfect time, and the perfect time is now.
Yes, 100%. Because if we all waited for perfection, we would never get moving, right? It's just not going to happen. I would have delayed my podcast. You would have delayed like going on lives. Like, there's so many things, right? And what I really enjoy and appreciate, what you have shared in this podcast today is really what I love is I didn't really even have to ask you anything. You literally just shared the journey, and I was like, oh, I was going to ask her about that, and she just talked about it. So that's perfect. But I love how you kind of really integrated all these different pieces, including, the important aspects of, not always having the support from people that we think we're going to have support from. And then for you to have enough inner knowing, even though you weren't quite in your healing journey, to know that you needed to separate yourself. Because in order for you to step into that space of healing yourself, you needed your environment to shift. And like you just, it's sort of like how we don't know, but we know that we're being led somewhere, and it's only later when you reflect, you're like, oh my God, I was totally being supported by my team, and they were guiding me this entire time to like get to this place. And the other thing I loved about how you talked about being an alchemist, and I think, what I've realized over time in this journey is all the work that we do on ourselves alchemizes into that gold to share. So that is, you are sharing the alchemy of your own healing that is now embedded in what you do. And like, people will get to know, because obviously I'm going to share all of your information when this podcast comes out next week, and they'll have access to, how to get a hold of you, where to listen to you. But it's so nice that they got to listen to some samples, right? Like, I mean, truly a gift, right? Because just listening, I promise you, the people who tuned in, just like me, it's just, your vibration is going to raise. Like, your body is just going to experience, your cells start to just somehow get coded, right? Like, you can physically feel the energy. And now, I will put the disclaimer that sometimes right now people might not be so in tune with their own bodies and their energy. But, just like you were saying, like, I think it's so important, right? Like, this is your channel, this is your gift, this is how you bring healing both to yourself and to everybody else. And the same way, like, for me, I'm doing the podcast, or someone's an artist. I mean, whatever way that is, because sometimes people get stuck with, oh, I have to go to like a healer and a coach, right? Like, they get stuck in terminology, or, things like that. And it's like, there's so many different ways, and it's about what you're attracted to, what feels right for you. Lean into those things and explore those things. And, what I didn't get to ask you, and I would love to know, is, when did this sort of gift of music come into your life? Because I feel like, especially since the little that you've shared about your family, it's almost like it was a gift in your life from childhood that you were able to just have with you, your safe space where you could kind of channel your energies. So I know I'm kind of dashing off into a little bit of a tangent, but I want that piece to be understood also. Is like, what was that aspect of you growing up and this connection with music?
Wow. I can answer that very clearly. Is this, I was raised on a farm in Prince Edward Island in an area called Norwell. And there was my dad was a fiddler, guitar player, piano player. My mom played a little bit of piano. And there's always music parties at our house or somebody's house every weekend. And I used to watch what the guitar players were doing with their left hand in this case. And when I was the only person in the house on the farm, I would take my dad's guitar down what we call the green stairs, which is from my parents' bedroom, and sit at the bottom of the stairs looking at the long farm driveway. We all know what those are like. And I would figure it out. And it got to the point that that I was able to play with Doris Day. Que Sera, Sera was the first song I ever learned. And I found out from before my dad crossed over, we were chatting. And I said to him about how I used to take his guitar. He goes, I know. You go, you do? He goes, yeah. He goes, and when he told me, and I knew the exact moment because I remembered it. And I was playing away and whatever. And then all of a sudden I heard this noise, and because we had a big porch, where you come in from outside, you take all your clothes out, and you go into the next one, you can wash up, and you're in the house. And Dad was telling me how him and Mom came in and they were listening to me. And Dad, because my dad and I are very connected soul-wise, and I could feel my dad's pride going, wow, listen to her, Sylvia. Listen. Wow. Right. So I'm not sure when I actually come out of the closet on that level to them, start playing, I'm quite honest. But because Dad said, we went out, made a whole bunch of noise, and I said, no, I remember that moment because I scurried up the stairs so quickly and pretend nothing happened. But yeah, so I'm 100% self-taught guitar player, and you're absolutely right about the guitar. It's it has been and it will always be the one place I get to go and be with me. And she's been very instrumental in me. I got introduced to, of course, Scottish and Irish fiddle music. And then one of the fiddlers that was the head of the Prince County Fiddlers, John Gauthier, he was in the military and he played, big band music, swing music, which I love. And John played that one time at a party. I go, what? Because I feel something. I feel it first, then it becomes a thought. And so, years later, I was home because as you know, I left there in February of 80. And I was one of the times I was home and Dad and I went out to John's house and I said, can we play Bye Bye Blues? And he goes, sure. So we started playing and he put down his guitar and he just like, wow. Right. But if something and here's the thing for all of us, if something draws you, go for it. Do not allow anybody to deter you or to not affect or not the word not, take that out. Do not allow other people to affect you and deter you from your passion, your love. And that's when I was saying earlier about people you share your intimate feelings and emotions with. You be damn careful who you share it with because it is precious and it needs to be honored and it deserves the utmost respect. If you're not getting the utmost respect and the deserving of you, you need to really evaluate your friendship with that person because you're giving to that person, but are they giving back? It's not saying you have to give them back to me equally, but there must be a mutual ground for that friendship and that relationship to evolve and blossom into whatever it's going to be.
100%,
Right?
100%. And you know what's really important about what you're saying, Ernestine, and the more we embrace, appreciate, and love ourselves, the more discerning we get, right? Because then we're not seeking outside from a place of any kind of wounding. We're looking from a place of, I know who I am, I embrace who I am, I love who I am, and your energy field changes. So the people around you that get attracted to you or magnetized to you also change, right? So it's sort of a combination of what you're saying and kind of what we ourselves are emanating. And as we keep raising our vibration and frequency, those people don't really come so much into our field, or we have the discernment and we're like, okay, wonderful person, but not someone that I need to have in my inner circle.
Exactly. And this the thing is, we have free will. We have free choice. Remember that. You do have that. Use, like you said, use your discernment. Step back and evaluate because this whole journey is for us to get to know ourselves, to honor ourselves, to respect ourselves, to care for ourselves. Who gives a fuck if anybody else does? Doesn't matter. It's about honoring yourself. And, it's like I'm an introvert. I'm a true introvert. As you noticed at the festival, I was there 3 days that I never really talked to anybody. I don't socialize with people, right? And when I say this, it's just not comfortable for me. I'm comfortable one-on-one like this. I'm comfortable with that. And I had a lady, this is quite funny, at Soul G Fest. It was the first day, so it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. One of the ladies there told me that day or later that day or the next day, that I played for like 2 to 3 hours straight on Friday. And I said, I did? She goes, yeah, okay. Right. But see, that's what happens when we love something, time is an illusion. I was just being present, just hanging out with everybody and just being with everybody. Right. And and I was in my own little world, you could call it. But but here's the thing, as much as I'm in my own little world, I invite anybody to come into my little world because it's an absolute fantastic, incredible space for me to be in. And I love what I get to do because I get to show people really who I am, right? And I was had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day. I've been single for over 13 years. I never dated a soul, right? And because this is about me taking this time for me to understand, and when I reflect back on my relationships, I would like to share this. It's coming right now, is back in 2017, a friend of mine, I've never met her. She lives in Vancouver where I live, but we've never met. And that's a beautiful part. You can meet people all around the world. It doesn't matter. You could be next door. It doesn't matter. You don't actually have to meet physically, right? But anyway, Susan had posted this post about a covert narcissist. And I was dealing with a situation where I was living at that time with these people. Like, I'm going, what is wrong with these people? Don't they listen? Don't they hear? You know, and as a landlord, we have a governing body here in British Columbia that a landlord must adhere to the what they call the Residential Tenancy Act, right? And I'm standing up for my rights. They didn't like it, and that's what happens with strong people. They want you to cower down and be, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me kiss your ring. And some people say, or kiss your toes, whatever. But this covert narcissist, and I was reading there what a covert narcissist is, and all of a sudden I went, holy shit, that's them, right? But what happened really quickly was I was able to look at them, change how I dealt with them, because now, that's where if I can name it, I can tame it, right? And so I shifted and changed how I dealt with them. They didn't know what to do because they're still doing the stupid dance. I'm not doing that dance anymore because I already know what's going on. But I was able to look back at my past relationships and go, oh my God, they were exactly the same, to, oh my God, my family was exactly the same. Because what it is, it's a comfort. It's familiar to us. The chaos, the drama, all that stuff. And when I had that realization, I went, oh my God, right? And I look at what I allowed, what I condoned. I should have walked away from my last relationship long before I ever did end it, right? Because even when I say this, and I'm being very honest, like I'm lucky I'm alive because she was badly abusive and I allowed that to carry on. I'm not responsible for her behavior or conduct. It's me. And I look at that and it's like, because we, including we want, I know who I am. I have a huge heart. I'm a giver. And when I look at my biological family to my past relationships, and I used to say, why can't you see me for me? But the truth is that I see me for me, and I start to see my worthiness. And, my last partner, like the police were involved, right? And here's the thing too, as I say this is coming to me, because I don't talk about this very much, is that when the police officers came, they presume, because as a survivor, we know how to put on the facade. It takes me a while to process my feelings, etc. And the police just thought it was just a spat. right? But yet she had taken my glasses, okay? She took this whole arm, bent it, popped out the lens around twice on both sides. And when the police got there, I said, can you help me find my glasses, please? And we found one lens, and I don't know if we found the other lens. I can't really remember, quite honest. But so they went now going back out to talk to her, and I found my frames in that shape. So the police and her were just outside the door, so I like knocked on the door, opened it, said, here's my glasses. That should have been enough for them to know. They just thought it was a spat. And I called the Women's Center in White Rock. I had this lady, Deidre, who I talked to, and she said something to me. And she said, if that was a man that did that to you, they would have charged him. But because it's female to female, they just minimized it and all this. And I went, oh, shit. So I phoned up the police officer and I said, da 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 da. And he says, okay, come on in here. Let's make an appointment. You come in here. So then he checked with the other guy, and they both thought the same thing, right? So I went in for the interview, and I'm sitting there talking, and then I let my guard down, and I'm bawling and told him what I've been through. He sat there and he went, oh my God, we fucked up. He said, I am so sorry that I didn't get it that day. And he asked me, do you want to put a restraining order on her? I said, yeah. He went to his superiors and they said no, because if they would have charged her that night, I could have got a restraining order, but because it was a week or two later and all this. And he said to me, do you want me to call her and tell her to leave you alone? I said, no, let's just let it be, right? Because, it's a hard decision because you damn if you do and damn if you don't, right? And she got the message that I don't want to talk to her, but what she's been doing is going out into the community, bashing me to everybody else, saying what she did to me that I did to her, as if I did it to her, but it was her that did it to me. And so she has tainted me because that's what narcissist people do. They go, look over there, look over there, look over there. Don't look at me, look over there. Right? And I have not been involved with the gay community here for years. Because I don't need to be a part of the gay community. It's my lifestyle, but it's not my identity. And so a year ago, I went out to a function. It was the first time. I think I've gone to 4 now. Because I'm, like I said, I'm an introvert. Like I like real substance talk, like what we're doing right here. I don't want to, oh, isn't that weathered out something else today? Did you know it's going to be snowing tomorrow? And I'm going, I don't give a shit if it snows tomorrow. It snows tomorrow. I had somebody, this is quite funny. I don't know if you were there for this, but the Sunday was a really cold day. And at night it was even worse. Right. And that guy that works there, he brought a big propane heater thing that people were hovering over, right? And I'm sitting there, and one of the ladies there, and she lives near me, a couple hours north, and she goes, "It snowed in Vancouver today." I don't know what it did, but I know inside I was freaking out, and because inside I'm going, I don't give a shit. I'm not there. I'm here. Right. But I could feel my body because I didn't know, like, it was the reactiveness within me. I could feel it. And I'm just going like, I don't give a shit. But I know I didn't say that out loud, but I know I said something. And it was like, who cares? So if it's snowing in Vancouver, like, I'll worry about that when I get there. I didn't even look at the weather when I was coming, flying back. I was in shorts. Right. That's how I travel. But you know, for me, you know, is it doesn't matter. I listen to other people. I know what's relevant for me. I know what's not relevant. I know what speaks to me. I know what not does not speak to me. And we, I think it's time for us to stop patronizing these people that we were told as kids. It's your aunt, it's your uncle. And the worst part is this, as I say this, and I don't know why this is coming, but it is, because I'm a survivor, right? I was violated as a child, sexually, emotionally, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm one of millions of women that have had this, and there's millions of men as well. And take the time, whatever it is, find the people that will nourish your heart, nourish your soul, that will see you for you, love you for you, kick you in the ass when you need it. But the kick in the ass is not harsh. It's saying, have you ever thought of it this way? I remember this one lady was a friend, and she was commenting about her son-in-law and about his parents, but more about his behavior. And I looked at her and I just said, first of all, you have no idea what that man has been through as a child. He's a product of what he was exposed to as a child. So his parents, as much as you think they're great, but you don't know what they're like as parents. You don't know what they were like to their son and why he is the way he is. Right? And I didn't even know. And it was, I think, I don't know if it was then or a few days later, she mentioned to me that she just never thought of him in that light. Right? That he is a child. He's a survivor, just as she is, just as I am. We all have our patterns. We all have our fears. We all have all this stuff. But instead of being so critical of people, step back, and it doesn't excuse their behavior. It doesn't excuse anything, but come from a place of compassion, empathy, caring, and put yourself in their shoes. You know, you can go adult, and say, what's wrong with you, you adult, you? No, that adult, there's a little me in there. There's all these different parts of ourselves. And I think, you know, it's like, you know, it's mentioning that, you know, I'm proud of myself for taking this time to be with myself, to, you know, I don't need somebody. If I want to go for dinner, I just take myself out for dinner. Like, people feel they have to have somebody else to go with them for dinner. I said, no, I just walk into the restaurant, yeah, just myself, right? And I sit down, have a meal, and I leave. But you know what? I like my own company. Why would I go and share a meal or do something with somebody that I don't enjoy their company? So I'll take myself out. So
I love that. I love that. That is so powerful. And you're right. I mean, you know, it's almost like societal, right? Like society has made it seem strange that why would you do something by yourself? Like I've experienced that before too, where I'll just go to a movie. They're like, you're gonna go by yourself? I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm like, you know, there's so many things that we've bought into that don't even necessarily make sense, right? But I think, you know, what you're sharing is so much about just really embrace yourself, get to know yourself at your deepest level. And when you are comfortable with you, honestly, it doesn't matter what anybody says or thinks, because you know what's right for you. And it's, to me, it's sort of about like, you know, as we're on this journey, right, Ernestine, I think you'd agree, like the more we know ourselves, the more we embrace and love ourselves, you know, all that outside noise really starts to tune away. And there's actually a lot of peace around it. So it's almost like if we add those elements, that all gets kind of like, a little bit of that starts to like move around, which is not a bad thing, but we get to choose. We get to
Yeah.
choose. Sometimes it is about like just really enjoying. Like, when people say to me, well, I don't know, I'm like bored. I'm like, how can you be bored? I have so many things that I love to do. I enjoy my own company. I don't know what you mean by bored. There's like so many
Well,
things to do.
but here's the thing is this is the people that are bored, if they're bored, they're the only ones who can change that. But some people are stuck in the fact is, well, I need a partner. Oh, I need, a friend to go do this. Oh, I need somebody to go with me to do this and that. You don't need that. That, you're saying it's society tells you this. It's that programming. And that's when, I started out with my journey in 1996, as I stated very clearly, that I started to open up to my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own emotions, mine. And as I open up to those, and like I was saying, I was on that incredible 5-acre ranch for 8.5 years. It was the right space for me where I get to be me. And if I had a question, I had an incredible roommate, a very spiritual man. I just didn't realize how incredible he was, but I do recognize it now. I recognized it then, but not the same depth because I'm in a different level than I was then. And so I was very fortunate. But that's where we need to look at the people we have in around us. I want to grow. I want to expand. I don't want to sit here and if the person says, well, I'm bored, well, they're stagnant. So the only person that can change that stagnant part or that bored part is them themselves. But obviously they don't want to change it. So quit bitching about it.
Well, and what's interesting, right? Like some of us, I don't know about you, there used to be a time where, because innately we are here as light workers, right? Whatever word you want to use, is we're always wanting
Yep.
to support and uplift and elevate. And even before we would have stepped into our healing journeys, we were already doing that. It's part of our DNA. And
Yep.
what I realized really quickly is that you can only do so much. People have to help themselves. You can't do that for them. As much as your desire is that I just want them to also be in a space of just love and peace and all of the stuff. Yes, it's a wonderful thing, but they have to do the work to bring themselves into that thing. And if I keep giving my energy towards that, I'm depleting myself. But it was for me to recognize that I was doing that on a constant basis. That was one of my patterns, is constantly giving my energy because I thought it could actually help to elevate someone, but they were not ready to do the work or to step into the space, right? And that's okay. But it's like you said, it's like once we kind of recognize and have awareness around our own patterning, right? Like you shared something very deep and vulnerable about your own personal experience, and you knew that this was a pattern that was being repeated over and over and over again, but you didn't know any different until you had the awareness. And then when you did, you're like, oh, wow, now I can choose something different. It's scary.
Yep.
It's very
Yep.
scary, but I know I can do it. And trusting yourself and knowing that you can do it. And I think that's such an important part of this, right? And everything that you're sharing and that I'm sharing is, it still comes back to doing the inner work. Like you got to work on yourself first and become your own best friend, become your own champion. And I'm not saying don't get support. There's beautiful support out there. Know what's right for you. Use all of those beautiful resources to help yourself, because I truly feel like you were saying, Ernestine, like if you can't love yourself and be with yourself and enjoy that time and really enjoy it, there's still more work to be done, right? To some degree, because it's like you just, when you get to that place where you're just like, I can just be me and just be happy. I love, see, I'm an extrovert, but I also love my time by myself. I love that aspect. So I also don't like to pigeonhole and say I'm only this. I'm all kinds of things, right? So I can embrace all aspects of myself, and some days I want to be really social. So then I kind of lean into that. Other days I just want to be by myself. So I do that. So I think it's really beautiful to really also tune in to what we're feeling, what our guidance is in that moment, and to really just keep flowing with that. And I think that's what really helps us really grow and to like nurture ourselves and just trust everything is happening for us. And we just need to go along and be in that flow.
Yeah, because we can fall into the victim role. When I say this, as a victim of circumstances, you could say, right? I'm a survivor. I could get stuck in the victimhood of that. But if I stay in the victimhood of that, then I'm denying myself to set myself free from that, because I am not that. I am not responsible for other people's behavior and conduct or anything. I'm only responsible for mine. I was a little kid. They were all the adults in and around me. It was their responsibility to nurture, love me, protect me. They failed big time. And then they go, why don't you trust us? Well, guess what? You did it. Even with my mom and dad on the other side, I didn't trust them. I still don't trust them, because this heart of mine is sacred. They never honored me while they were here on earth. And, you know, my father, when he crossed over, he got a message to me. And it's sad that it took him to die to say this to me. And he says, I believe you. When I heard that, I knew exactly what he meant. He believed that it was his father that molested me, my two brothers. And there's other people involved. But that's a horrible thing for your own father. Well, if you really truly loved me, right, you would have stood up with me, stood by my side, and hold him accountable. They never did it when he was alive. They never did it, and it's really sad. And this is, for me, is my dad's brother. He, last time I talked to him was what, 8, 10 years ago, whatever it is now, could even be longer. And it was one of my last phone conversations with him. And and Eric says, well, I know a really wise man, which is my father. And he starts spewing off this stuff that he thinks is so wonderful from his father's wisdom, right? And Eric knows, and so does Mary. And I stopped Eric. I said, do you honestly think I want to hear anything that comes out of that man's mouth? He violated me. He's a perpetrator. Do you think I want to hear anything? Like, what is going on with your brain? I didn't say those words like that, but that was the meaning. What is wrong with you bringing up his name and putting him on a pedestal, being a wise man? Right? That's what I mean. We as survivors, we're not asking people to blacklist this other person, but this friggin' family loyalty. Well, he's my father. I can't talk about him that way. Oh, he's my aunt or my uncle and all this stuff. Oh, gotta talk good about them, right? Oh, they're a Christian. I gotta talk good about them because they're a Christian. They go to church every Sunday, but yet they're the biggest hypocrites. They're the biggest violators of perpetration. It's like, for me, I would love to see all the religions, because every single war, every single hate, every single judgment is organized religion based. It's not based on spirituality. It's not out of kindness, love, and respect. What I see the states going through right now, it hurts me to see what's happening, going back 50 years of presidents on a woman having the right to choose to have an abortion or not. That's her body, that's her right. No man, no religion, no place has any place in a woman's body. mind your own business. And it scares me. I'm a gay person. They're going after the gay people down the States now. It's only because of their personal beliefs. Your personal beliefs have no place in government, none. But you can do the walk by being kind, authentic, compassionate, supportive as a human being on this earth. But and that's where for me, I have people on my timeline, praise Jesus and all this stuff. And I'm just want to say, please, there's more than Jesus. It's okay. What about you? Can you celebrate you the same way you celebrate, supposedly celebrate Jesus? And this, I don't get into religion very much, and I don't know why I'm doing this right now, but I am. Is, saying that Jesus died on the cross for our sins. That's some man that's twisted that to control human, to feel like they're lesser and they got to put them on a pedestal. I know many people, and I'm sure you do as well, and you could be one of these people that is very connected to Jesus. Mary Magdalene, like what I've learned in the last 4 years just blows my socks off. And you know, to I even have a friend of mine who she got COVID and she was going to die. And she has two, not little boys, but teenagers. And she didn't want to go. She wanted to be there for her boys. So she already connected Mary Magdalene and Jesus, etc. And she made a deal with Jesus. So she's embodied Jesus. Yeah. And, and in fact, I got a letter right there from Jesus to me that she not channeled, but for people who don't understand what channeling is, not you, the human, that's being channeled, it's something else other than yourself. And she wrote that letter from Jesus to me, right? And here's the thing again, going back, I like to, what I've learned about Jesus is not the way the Bible has twisted and manipulated Jesus. Jesus was one feisty man. And he did flip a table, et cetera, et cetera. But, this thing about separation, that's what, for me, religion is the separation, because some people say, well, I'm Muslim, it's this way or no way. I'm Christian, it's this way or no way. Oh, I'm Catholic, it's this way or no way. And that's separation. That's separating people. Jesus is about us coming together collectively, loving each other, supporting each other, being there for each other, build each other up, support each other. He's not sitting there. He never did die on the cross for our sins. Absolutely not. But I would love for people to do their real homework and go within themselves, because, and I've said this to a few people, I don't say it very often, that people don't even realize that the Bible was written 400 years after. 400 years after. Can you imagine the amount of manipulation that was done to the truth? There was only one religion to start with, and those two guys didn't agree, so they broke off, came two, and then those two didn't break up, so they could, see how it goes, right? And separation. And that's where, for me, spirituality is together, collective. And I will, I've had people ask me online, some of my memes, and they go, are you a Christian? I said, I consider myself a spiritual being having a human experience. And they go, oh, but I planted a seed. The seed may blossom, the seed may not. That's up to them, but it gave them a food for thought, right? Because, it's like, I remember when I was in counseling for that 3 years, whatever it was. And I finished. I thought, okay, I got it now. I'm got it. That's what I thought. Then to find out that, but I knew there was something still missing. But what it was my spirituality. And spirit brought me the right person, the right place and space. And her name is Reverend Catania Kyler. My first conversation with her was, oh, you're a minister and you have your own church? I need to be honest with you. And I did it kindly. And I said, I have a problem with organized religion. And she goes, me too. I said, what? And it was the most beautiful conversation I've ever had with anybody. It was like 3 hours or maybe longer. And I went to her spiritual center. And it was my first time ever experiencing a guided meditation. I took that feeling, went home, and that's where instrumental silence came from, was her, for what she did. I had turned it on, but obviously it turned off.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why that happened. So now you know the difference from having the live thing versus, yeah. So my apologies to everybody. Yeah, and just so everybody knows too, that with Zoom, and that's one thing I must say I really appreciate about Zoom is Zoom just really took off. It was already there, but in 2020, it just took off, but they really stepped up to the plate for us musicians, where we can go live. And that's one thing that I really appreciate. I don't know any other software that, to my knowledge, that does what Zoom does. I know other people get the other ones because they're free. Well, this one's free, but you're going to have, 40 minutes, I think it is, for live. But at least they are willing to take the money, reinvest it in, because with it allows us to go live, and not get distorted like it just did, right? And I really appreciate Zoom for taking the steps to resolve this for us all. Yeah.
yes, absolutely. I mean, that's what I was saying before. I said, it's so beautiful when technology understands what the needs are and then meets the needs, right? So I think it's really incredible, but you're right. It's like that one setting shifting like causes like the instrument to not be able to like bring through what we're trying to like listen to. But it was
Yep.
so beautiful, and just all the music that you've played today is, I like, my crown is like tingling, because it's just like, yes, like this high vibration, high energy. And I just really want to thank you so much, Ernestine. It's been so beautiful to get to know you like at this much deeper level, and to have you share different aspects of your story, your journey, your wisdom, and all the stuff that you've learned yourself after doing your own inner work, and all the alchemy that you've done on yourself. And just want to remind my beautiful audience that's going to be tuning in that all of Ernestine's information, how to connect and how to listen, all of that will be in the bio section everywhere that this gets posted. So please, please, please connect with her, look her up, and just tune into more of this incredible, beautiful, high vibrational music that we're all getting to receive, since she's being the channel to bring it through. This is her way of offering healing to each one of us. And it's such a beautiful gift. You are a gift. So I just want to thank you so much for this beautiful conversation.
Oh, thank you. Another thing too, just so everybody knows, I do sound baths. I'm going to be starting a weekly meditation, 30-minute drop-in fee. And anything that I do, as long as I'm in control, right? I try to make it affordable for everybody, but also sliding scale is always available. That includes people who want to buy my music, because the time to do something is now, not later. Um, my music is very affordable, but at the same time, our situations are what they are. And the one thing, I will gift somebody my music coming to an event that I'm hosting. I just ask you to honor it in the manner that it's given. right? That's all I ask in return. And you're going to be getting my 3 albums as soon as I'm off here.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Ernestine. And again, thank you so much. It's been such a beautiful couple of hours that we've been chatting, and it's been beautiful. And I truly hope that people will receive not only the gift of the beautiful music that you're channeling, but all this wisdom that you've been able to share from like your own personal journey. And I thank you so much for that. And I look forward to connecting with my beautiful audience again on the next episode. So thank you so much.
Thank you.